Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
It's 2017 and we're at the Michigan Golf Show, the biggest one in the world. And with us is Janina Parrott-Jacobs, Michigan Women's Golf Hall of Fame. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jenny. Thanks. I can't believe it's been a year that we've been here and the golf season's upon us. And yes, there's a lot of really wonderful things happening in the women's golf arena right now.
We're so curious about the Golf Hall of Fame. Where's it going to be? Will it be virtual? Who's going to be in it? Who's going to decide? How about tackling some of those questions?
Well, I think I can do that. It kind of came about last year. As you recall, we had our 30th anniversary for the Michigan Women's Golf Association over at the beautiful Red Run Golf Club. And one of our longtime members had, let's say, endowed the event, and we had some money left over, and so Pat Myers had asked if we would like to start a Hall of Fame for women in Michigan. And of course the Michigan Women's Golf Association, which is always very much a front runner and doing new and important things, we said yes. And so Sarah Wold was inducted as the first member immediately, pretty much immediately. And so she, but see, there's work associated with that, because now she is the head of the committee for the selection of the rest of the Hall of Fame members. So there's a few women on the committee, and nominations are closed. They were closed as of February 20th for the class of 2017, and then there will be votes by the members of the Michigan Women's Golf Association. So of course that's a really good opportunity and incentive to join the Michigan Women's Golf Association, because then you can vote for whoever you want, and then you can nominate some people for next year. So there's a few candidates that are in for balloting, and that will be selected. I think, like I said, the deadline, I believe, is April 20th, and then we will have a wonderful celebration to do that induction at the Eagle Crest Golf Facility in Ypsilanti, and that will take place on July 15th with a dinner at 6 p.m. for all of the new inductees.
Oh, wow. So it's happening pretty quickly.
Well, you know, the women don't mess around. They move pretty quickly when they...
Yeah, we don't.
Well, you're right. We do not mess around when it comes time, when we decide that it's time for something like that. And so that's one of the reasons we wanted to get it going pretty quickly and get some of the women involved and into that Hall of Fame. And you asked about where it would be and if it was virtual, and the answer to that is yes, it is a virtual Hall of Fame. And already, I can give you the website. You can already look and see Sarah's lovely picture up there, along with a few honorary members that just were inducted as honorary members. And that would be MWGA-HOF for halloffame.org. So MWGA-HOF.org.
Well, that sounds pretty simple, but one looming question is, what are some of the criteria? For example, do people still have to be living?
You know, the criteria that I have seen from it is simply that you have had to make, there's two ways, simply making outstanding contributions to the game of golf in Michigan, and the second is to have an outstanding playing record. So if you have either one of those, then you're eligible to be nominated. And it didn't really say anything whether or not you had to be living, but I would think that we will address that because, as you probably know, I'm on the Michigan Hall of Fame Golf Committee as well, not just the women's, but also the Michigan. Oh, I'm not on the Michigan's Women's Committee for that. I was nominated for the Hall of Fame, so we'll see what happens. But for the Michigan Hall of Fame, we are inducting a post-mortem gentleman who's going to be in that. So I would think that the Women's Hall of Fame would certainly follow suit to be able to nominate those who have passed, because why should they be ignored just because we didn't have a Hall of Fame then?
The Michigan Golf Hall of Fame has way more guys than it does women, but there's still about 21 or so. Do they get any special attention?
Well, it's interesting you noticed that about the Hall of Fame. And actually, we are inducting 2 women this year into the Michigan Hall of Fame. And I believe it's Susie Green Roebuck and Stacy Slobodnik-Stoll. Very, very fine young women who I've had the pleasure of competing against and with a number of times. So, yeah, that's always a treat to have that. And so I think that I don't know if any special attention is going to be given to current Michigan Hall of Fame members. I think you have to stand on your own merit and be renominated or nominated for the Hall of Fame for the women's. So it's no guarantee that because you're in the other one that you get into the women's. We might have tougher criteria. I don't know. Not really, though.
Janina, one of the things that's always interesting is how guys get more attention and have through the years for a lot of things, whether it's Nobel Prizes or whatever. But now that women are getting more attention, Title IX kicked in, are there some things about women's golf that really need special attention?
Oh, I think there's a whole host of things, and how much time do you have? But you know what? I think the key, the biggest key, is that when you have committees or organizations and women are not a part of them, a lot of times the men don't think about including women in it. I'm not saying that it's a chauvinist thing or anything like that. They just don't think about it because they usually play with other guys. For me, because I played both with men and women as a product of Title IX, I see it from both sides. And so I think in order for women to get a little bit more attention or more of at least consideration, they have to be part of the process, part of the committee. And I am, as I said, very pleased to be a part of the Hall of Fame Golf Committee. And while that doesn't necessarily mean that because you have women on the committee that we automatically vote for the women, that's not right either. That's not the case. But you have to at least look at the qualifications and give the attention. And if it merits it, then that's what you do. So I think with more women being included in committees, organizations, becoming presidents of associations, for example, Sarah Wold will be president of the GAM, I believe, next year. And that is a very, very strong statement in how women's golf is in Michigan. And I think because we've always been a leader in women's initiatives here in this state, we're going to continue to push for that type of thing. But again, it does involve work. You can't change the process if you're not part of it. I've always believed that.
Oh, you are so right. Well, one of the things I'm thinking about is when I first moved to Michigan in the early 90s, there was a big issue about women being able to play golf in the morning, and somebody got a bill through the legislature and changed it and said, hey, wait a minute, women get to play golf in the morning too. Did whomever supported that initiative, would that be a criteria for a contribution?
You make a good point, and you know who that was? That was Senator Lana Pollock. And I believe it was Senate Bill 853, I think. I've written about this. So it ties, that particular bill tied into the liquor laws. And because you cannot discriminate and get liquor licenses, it's always about the booze, isn't it? Because you couldn't discriminate and be considered for a liquor license, a lot of the clubs and facilities that did that, and some public facilities did that too, if you recall, had to really reevaluate all that was going on. And so you make a very good point. Senator Pollock would certainly be somebody. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'll have to put that forward next time and take a look at some of our legislators or some of the people perhaps outside the golf arena that have still made contributions to equality and to things to move women forward in the golf industry.
I think it illustrates there are so many things that are different for women. For example, equipment. Is there enough attention being paid to making clubs that work well for women as well as for men?
I think there are. I think a lot of the manufacturers and the different golf facilities here in Michigan, they really are making a concentrated effort to look at how women play, how they swing. Of course, the club head speeds are slower in most cases. pretty much all cases. And so they're looking at different equipment. I think the biggest factor, and I wish all women would do this, men too, really, because so many people are playing with clubs that do not fit them. So I would definitely recommend for anyone to take advantage of the club fitting techniques and the places that specialize in that, because you truly will enjoy your game more. And back in the days when I can remember back in the 60s or 70s, I would go in a golf store and basically be ignored because the guys just didn't pay any attention because, oh, it's a girl, what a show. Oh, the pink clubs are over there. Yeah, you know it too. But things have come a long, long, long way since then. I think they're starting to realize that women are a very important market, and it's evident. You'll talk to some of my cohorts about this later in the golf show, but our Michigan Women's Golf Summit is coming up in April 22nd, right here at the Suburban Showcase Collection. And I have had the honor of being the sponsorship chair for that. And I'm pleased to say, what's today, March the 10th, I think it is, we already have major sponsors confirmed and in place, and some very good ones. We've got Treetops as our title sponsor. We have Carl's Golfland, the Michigan Section PGA, and also the GAM, who are presenting sponsors, as well as Fox Hills and our different golf associations. Lake Forest Golf Club is also a sponsor. And it's been, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say it's been easy, because that will jinx me for the summit that we want to do in 2019. But we've laid the groundwork, I think, over the last number of years, developing relationships, being present, being here at the golf show, being in the public eye. I try to write a lot about women's golf. You broadcast it, and Art, our buddy right here behind the camera, he has done a tremendous job in promoting women's golf. And I think the sponsors and the different golf companies are starting to realize that women can be a very, very lucrative market if they're paid attention in the right way. And I'm just so pleased that all of these sponsors have stepped forward to be a part of this summit.
Well, that's another exciting development, and I really think the Michigan Women's Golf Hall of Fame is going to help have an impact and bring notice to all the cool things that women are doing in golf in Michigan. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Jenny. And another part of what's happening too, which I think is tremendous, sometimes with golf associations, you have this butting of heads and conflict, and we don't want to take part in your event because that takes away from our event. We haven't had that. For the summit, all the women's golf associations in this area have come forward. The Huron Valley, the Ann Arbor Women's, Executive Women's Golf, Laura Winch, is chairing this event. Michigan Women's Golf Association is part of it. We have the Women's Metropolitan Golf Association. And we've all come together as sponsors of this, maybe not as big as Treetops, but still as sponsors and important cogs in that wheel. And we've all been on the committee to make that the particular summit happen. And we've got some great flyers we just put out, awesome breakout sessions that are going to address the topic of the summit, which is golf, a game for all generations. So we're going to be looking at junior golf. We're going to be looking at what to do with our young people. We're going to be looking at ways to grow the game. We're going to look at ways to improve your own game so that you enjoy it more, because that's probably one of the toughest things is getting frustrated with this game, which sends people away. So we want it to be a welcoming summit for either the novice golfer or somebody who's been around a while. So we will have something for everybody. And Debbie O'Connell, LPGA professional and media personality and author, is going to be our keynote speaker that day. And so it should be a very, very exciting day.
I'm looking forward to that. In fact, I'm looking forward to the whole season. Janina, thank you for spending this time with us, and good luck with the Michigan Women's Golf Hall of Fame and the summit.
Well, thank you so much, Jenny. And again, we really appreciate everything that you and your husband Art do to promote us and to make sure that that golf is front and center everywhere in Michigan. Thanks.
You're welcome.